hard question? Maya? I guess it is a hard question. Maya is a person who's still learning a lot, but is really excited to learn and learns in a lot of different ways, but mostly from other people. Yeah, so Maya's still growing. Yeah.
Okay. When you write, do you have a music? How about?
You know, most of like my inspiration comes like really late at night. Like majority of my poems have started at like 2 a.m. and I'll just be like hanging out and I'll just get one line and I'll just build from a line for like an hour, 2 hours, and then a poem goes. But I could never like sit down and say, I want to write a poem today, because it will suck so bad. So it usually just comes from just conversations that I have, or like news stories or like books I read, and it just comes, and there'll just be one line and then I build around the line.
Favorite poet? Another cliche.
Favorite poet? Ooh. I guess you would, well, I guess I have two. My mother named me after Maya Angelou, because when I was growing up, she read her poetry to me, so it's kind of like ingrained in me. And then there's another poet named Newsome, and he's amazing. He just writes really like eccentric pieces, but they're just so beautifully like crafted, and like his words are just, I wish I could write like him. Like, he's just really good, and he's been, I think, a slam poet for almost like 10 years. And he's amazing. He's amazing. But yeah, those are my two favorites. And then self-publishing, the reason I did it was I wanted the freedom to be able to say like, this was my book. And with a lot of like publishing companies, you don't get the freedom of getting a lot of your profit back, and you don't get the freedom of saying what you want. So they try to tailor it with anything. They try to tailor it to a certain audience, but you don't get a lot of freedom. So that was really important to me, was I want to be able to write what I want to write. I want to be able to say what I want to say. And if that means I have to put a little bit more of my money, my time into it, then fine. So maybe in the future I'll go through a publishing company, but right now I'm proud to say that this is my book, and I did it all myself. I'm like a big girl, I guess. So yeah, that's why I decided to self-publish. You know, I think art is all about perspective. I think the world and how you live your life is all about perspective. And I think we grow up with just almost tunnel vision for the majority of our lives, and we only see things in one way. So things I wrote by the window is like I wanted people to look at certain situations through a different lens. So the book is divided into 4 sections. So there's things about the Lord, which is all like spiritual pieces. There's a portion about things about other souls, so there's some stuff about police brutality in there. There's a couple poems about feminism. There's some love poems in there too. So I wanted people to look at things differently, and I wanted people to say like, wow, I never thought of it that way. So I think as humans we have to constantly reassess how we look at things, because you can get so stagnant in your life, and then you realize why you're unhappy is because you've looked at things the same way since you were 5 or 6, and you've never changed your perspective. So I think it's really important for people to not just count other viewpoints out just because it's not their own. And that's spiritually, mentally, that's how you look at life, how you look at money, anything. So the goal with things I wrote by the window was just, how do you see things? Not that there's, my viewpoint is right, because it's not, but it's how do you see things and why do you see things that way? And do you maybe need to change the way you see things?